Okie dokie. Okay, back to it. We're recording. Hopefully I might that might have like split things up. Regardless,
Hey, Valhalla-ish.
can you now see this?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
we can see it.
cool. So now we get the max supply of Odin, and how we achieve that max supply of Odin is through multiplying that permanently locked P Valhalla, um, or taking the permanently locked P Valhalla and the Odin it's earned, and minusing that by the total Odin supply. And so that's how I'm getting the max supply of Odin, is through that little magic right here, because this 30 million 216.27 represents 30 million Odin essentially, that and every Odin it earns is removed from circulation forever. That's from. So that's how I get this number, and why that it decreased by 74,000 last week was essentially because 55,000 I burned extra because I had earned some P rewards, bought some Odin, locked more PV Hala forever, and then on top of that, it earned about like 20,000 more Odin to just take off the market. Holders up, amazing. The supply of Odin held by the community up. We're taking more Odin out of liquidity pools. It's a good thing. Price is going up. Market cap's going up. Holders are going up. Uh, all of it is staying healthy. Let's talk about liquidity to market cap ratio real quick. It's at a 0.678. To be honest, this is too low for me. I would rather it be a bit higher. We have ways to incentivize that liquidity over time through POM, P Valhalla, and the Ps. We have other potential things that we're going to maybe be talking about later in this conversation that would also help improve that liquidity to market cap ratio. And it is something that's on my mind, ever present, and will ever always be ever present, is trying to bring this to one or above one, because that would just mean more safety, peace of mind for everybody involved in the process. It's also going to mean that maybe it takes a little bit longer to grow to a degree. Maybe we don't fly up straight overnight, 3 days to 180 million market cap like some of these, meme coins with low liquidity. Uh, but hopefully it also provides sustained growth and development inside of the system over long periods of time. So it's something I'm considering always. Uh, USD value of permanently locked liquidity pools. I think it's important when we're looking at this and we're seeing all of this liquidity distributed, that we don't just see this money as dead money, but it's active money in these LPs. And because these LPs are all working together in a complex system, that activity is boosted. And so these LPs are able to work together and make money. And as the system grows, as there's more liquidity locked within these LPs, the more value the system can earn on its own. I just like to put these two next to each other just so it shows people maybe what happened last week. Looked like Suka actually gained some of the portfolio last week, and Peas lost it, and that makes sense because we saw Peas, dip a little bit. Suka held where it was. There's quite a bit of volatility. Looks like APU grew a little bit. Ohm stayed the same. Gold stayed relatively same. We see SOJ grew, and that's also a signifying of how SOJ is one of the first memes to ever launch, being backed by this network. And it doesn't have an outlet. So as Odin grows, it looks like SOJ is being able to take a bigger portion of this pie going forward. We'll see how that progresses. It's an interesting little thing. And then we're just like we're sundialed out up at here, where we see all these little percentages, and we never know which one can maybe pop. Um, and it's exciting times. We're ready for all the C's. Pihala. So Pihala is our pod at Peapod's Finance, and next week is going to be a Peapod's Finance sort of overview, similar to what I'm about to do with Olympus at the end of this little chat. And Pihala has got 58,000 now, and we can actually let's go Peapod's Finance. This is so much better than I feel like talking on Telegram is when I can like actually like go on a DAP and we can see it. One, we can also see while we're loading this that this UI is just poo. Um, give it some time. User interface experiences can always get better. So that's not like the high priority. The things that make it work. So we've got total value lock. This in the LP, this is about 60,000. P-Ohm, P-Valhalla, 280,000 total value lock. And this exchange rate shows us how we can multiply. If you hold P Valhalla and you're trying to figure out how much Odin you earned, you multiply how much P Valhalla you have times this exchange rate, and it will give you your total Odin amount. And just know that when you go to unwrap, you're going to have to deposit, you have to have a 1% unwrap fee. And so that is going to come there. But this also shows you what happened with P Valhalla and our permanently locked P Valhalla. And so we'll just go over that. I wrapped 1/6 of the supply into this pod, and then that became P Valhalla that's earning this APY in Odin tokens, and I permanently locked that. And so by doing that, I didn't just like burn Odin tokens. I burned a yield earning position that earns Odin tokens, which effectively removes it off supply. And over time, we're going to see the fair price of this, the pod price and the fair price be higher than Odin, because if P Valhalla keeps on increasing its exchange rate, let's just go to P's for example, PPs. So PPs has an exchange rate of 1.05. And so maybe that's something we can look forward to as a community ourselves, is that we hit this 1.05 exchange rate or higher, you know. And so then the question goes, how do we increase this exchange rate? How do we do that? And that's when we consider, let's go to here. This is 67 million Odin sitting in this contract, and this contract is the P Valhalla contract. So now you can see in here we have the 67 million Odin in that contract. Total value locked. That is what that's referring to, is this thing. And so if we click the token tracker and we look at how many are dead, that's where we get that dead P Valhalla, that permanently locked P Valhalla. And then so how do we increase this number? And my vision is that we have this P Valhalla, We have this P Valhalla die that's built by the community. Right now, presently, I have like 1 million P Valhalla die in P Valhalla in there to sell up to about 50 million market cap. I've tried to like spread it out quite a bit. I don't really want to provide too much liquidity down here because I just don't feel like selling at all. But I also want the system to start working and to start arbitraging more so we can increase the rate at which P Valhalla burns. And the more we can get P Valhalla to burn, the more Odin we can take off the market. And so, like, my rough vision is like, okay, well, when we hit 10 million market cap, what if we open up like a big uh, Uniswap V3 LP with a range from 10 million market cap to 10 million market cap, I mean 10 billion market cap, and we pair it P Valhalla with Pax G gold, because gold is quite relatively, it's a more stable asset. We're not going to see the kind of volatility that we're going to see in crypto, and so it's going to act as a nice, really contrasting asset to trigger volatility. And we have this mix of POM, P Valhalla, P Valhalla die, and then we have P Valhalla Pax G. And so we create this little trifecta arbitrage system inside of the P Valhalla, and we concentrate community efforts towards being like, do these three pools. Stop thinking about like, how do I pair Odin with the next gym, or how do I pair Odin with something else that's like edgy and new. And it's like, yes, there's going to be people who gamble like that, and there's going to be things like that that occur, and maybe I dedicate 1-2% of my own uh, time towards these efforts. But essentially, if we create a trifecta of POM, DI, and gold, we will increase the arbitrage opportunities on P Valhalla, increasing this APR, which increases the burn, which increases probably the volatility because the short squeeze just becomes more and more real over time. And that is my goal, to get the holder APR up. But right now, we're baby. And so we don't need all that liquidity down here. It doesn't need to exist. It's more of a restraint to a degree. Um, so I'm not suggesting that we all just go hop in an LP right now, but it's something that we can look forward to in the future, is creating that trifecta. Maybe even bringing in like Frax, maybe bringing in I was having a chat with Praj earlier this morning, like, in Coinbase, and being able to set up a pod over there and doing it with CCBTC, the Coinbase new BTC, because what if the WBTC exposure and uh, Justin Sun and all, I don't actually believe all that FUD and BS bullshit. Like, WBTC has got a lot of money in it, and it's going to be hard to sort of budge around, even if Maker makes a power move. So, regardless, though, we have that potential and that capacity, and I think it takes us as a group to evolve our mindsets in crypto together to sort of start to think in a way of, um, how do we preserve our wealth, and how do we pair with very high quality assets that are highly liquid and bring stability to the ecosystem for long term, and not just consider growth for growth's sake, but to consider how do we sustain every step we take. We're not in movement. Is actually brings me back to like my time with Rory Gold and um, in Thailand, and when we're shifting weight and we're walking, we spent days just walking and learning how to walk and move our legs. And when you shift weight, it's like you are deciding to plant your foot down, and it's you have the capacity if you're truly shifting weight properly, that you have the ability to pull that foot back because you're not falling forward. You're not just like stumbling yourself forward and you're out of control. And that's what a lot of meme coins are. It's what a lot of crypto is. It's about just like how far can we stumble forward until we fall, and then when we fall, it's like it's fucking over. So, uh, yeah, let's try to build for stability and long-term growth. I think that goes over quite a bit of it. Um, Projected earnings. This is going to fluctuate. I want to just overview that this number is going to fluctuate over time because the APY is going to change, right? And I like one sec. I know there's something here I wanted to overview with y'all. Okay, this right here. So next week I'm gonna add in like the minus percentage, and I just didn't want to add it in this week because I didn't want to add it in until I could explain it, and people like ask questions and you're like, well, why is the APR going down? Well, the APR is going down because there's not enough, volatility yet. There's not enough volume transactions. There's not enough people adding LP. Um, there isn't, the trifecta P Valhalla DAI, P Valhalla POM, P Valhalla, PAX G, pool liquidity pool system. So like that, those are the reasons why this number may drop. But we also have built-in systems to try to increase that number over time, increase that percentage APR. And so I will be more transparent moving forward on this, and I will show just what it is, how it is. If it goes negative, it goes negative. Um, but if we go to P-Pods Finance, maybe we can like take a look at like some of the more mature pods, and let's see this 5%. It's sort of rounded around for PO, and P's 8%, 27%. So, you know, these are APRs that are going to fluctuate over time, and we are farming volatility. And so, a lot of uh, volume, a lot of liquidity is all off chain. And so, yeah, APY might be a little bit low. It dip, but it's like the dream, the vision is on-chain liquidity comes, on-chain liquidity starts flowing, and once that comes, our reservoir is permanently locked, sitting there ready to receive that water, and then we start seeing those APY numbers pick up. The trifecta pool kicks in. Then we're seeing more P Valhalla transactions. Boom, and real yield, real system flows. It's pretty dope stuff. So that goes over pretty much all of P Valhalla. Community stats are going up. I want to increase how much P Valhalla is held by the community over time. I think LVF will help that. Education will help that. I think the trifecta pool is going to help that, and that's just like it comes with documentation, and just time and patience. The permanently locked capital working for us, 468,000, and this permanently locked cap to holder cap ratio, 1.1616, and this is how I'm getting that number. If we can, getting that holder cap, and then the total permanent locked. So if I look at the holder cap, I'm getting the supply of Odin held by the community, and I'm just timesing that by the price. And how I'm getting the supply of the Odin community is I'm considering all of these little factors and minusing it by the total Odin supply, total Odin and permis. And but I expect this number to go to, like, let's say zero point 0.2, zero point 0.3 potentially. We have to know that this is single sided. No, this is single sided right here. And so as we like move upwards, this will never go lower. It will only increase in its number. And so, yeah, at we that point two comes like when I say I think it could hit point two. That basically means uh, this is the bottom. Point two is 30 million divided by the 156 million or so right there. Like that's the minimum, and the that only grows over time. The more Odin that position earns, the the bottom on this, the baseline of this number is increasing forever. And it actually is achievable for the protocol to hit 1 as its minimum, because if this position, say, earns, if we just, change the exchange rate to uh, like 2, I know that's like a bit extreme, but, you know, if we did hit 2, then you see this number just jump up ridiculously over here, and it also earned 30 million. And so the max supply of Odin comes down to 126 million. If that exchange rate hit 3, we see the max supply of Odin comes down to 100 million. And so as this exchange rate increases, it's like it actually doesn't even look like that's possible, because it hits 5. Yes, it's going to sort of, if it as it grows, the system APR, because it's designated in Odin, will grind slower to a degree. It might be like in the billions and earning 2% or 1%. I don't know exactly how the stats are going to run. It's all just a experiment, but it's there and it's always earning. And so we're here. We're at the beginning stages, and that's that. So DeFi insights. Rather than just going over this, anybody who's read this can now have like already absorbed it. I'm just going to go skip over here to the OMIS Smart Money website, and we're going to just like overview the website. Treasury value $186 million. The liquid backing is 11 and 52 cents per ohm. Let's just exit out of all of this and pull up a little chart. So Olympus provides protocol owned liquidity, and back in the day that meant one thing. What it means today is that it is supplying this ohm ETH uh, here's this ohm ETH v3, about 4.1 million in liquidity. It's offering this up in liquidity, and we'll also find out later through its range bound stability and through some bond markets, it also offers a little bit more liquidity depth on either range of this side of the thing. So accessible backing. Because Ohm's treasury is denominated mainly in staked DAI and it's just very simple, they allow you to take 95% of your liquid backing per ohm and just borrow that. And let's just go and click borrow now. I don't have a wallet, so ain't gonna happen today. But we see a 0.5% borrow rate. And basically it says borrow die from Olympus Treasury against your geom, and you're like, whoa, well, what is geom? I thought I bought ohm. And so you would take you'd go to ohm, and you'd go to my balances, and when you connect your wallet here, it's like, here you can get this geom, and it will allow you to wrap your ohm into this geom technology. uh, you can spend time and you can learn more about what that is. You don't need to know what that is. You can just wrap it here in this thing, and it will show you your balance, and it will show you your geom balance. But once you have your geom, you can take it to a cooler loan, and you'd be able to borrow here, 0.5% against your thing. For me, when I first like showed up and I just bought I didn't really know what was going on last February. I mean, in February 24, I showed up, I bought it, and I was like, okay, now time to go get staked and earn my APY. And there was no Lambo. It was just a borrow, and I'm like, well, I'm just gonna borrow and then buy more ohm. And I just kept doing that. And then apparently I joined LoopDAO. I didn't even really know what LoopDAO was, but it just seemed to me like the most obvious thing to do is that when you're given an asset that you can borrow 0.5% APY against. And uh, it was around $12 to $13. And so I saw it. I'm like, okay, liquid backing per ohm is 11.52. I'm at $12 to $13. They also own 1% of Barachain. So if we go to Barachain, Barachain is an EVM compatible layer one on its own that has like a novel liquidity staking mechanism that's pretty dope. Up only, it's a vibe. But anyways, Olympus invested 1% into them back in seed days. So they have 1% allocation of that Barachain, and some evaluate that to 1% to be worth over 200 million. That is not considered in the liquid backing. So when I was doing this, it's $12 and $13. You have a liquid backing of $11.52 in DAI denominated dollars, and then you have that Barachain allocation. So it became very obvious to me that I should loop the shit out of this thing and just wait till it hits $24 and make a good amount of money. It's taken a little bit longer than I thought, but it's proving to work out um, over time. So now let's skip over to the RBS, where we can learn a little bit more about how ohm works. So here is ohm at $15.11. Market price is up here, 14.75. I'm figuring this out. Okay, so the snapshot price was $15.11. So basically what happens is that Ohm takes a snapshot price every 8 hours. And when it takes that snapshot price, it updates the 30-day moving average. And what happens is that snapshot says, okay, the 30-day moving average is $14.29. So the target price of ohm is to hit the moving average. And that is what the protocol is always looking for when it does its heartbeats. And so you see next snapshot in 4 hours. Every 8 hours takes the snapshot. That snapshot price was $14.79. When it does this as well, it creates a lower cushion and an upper range. That green lower cushion essentially basically means if the price were to hit in this area, that the bond market would open from the Olympus side, and they would begin willingly buying all of this DAI up, because with the capacity is 1.8 million DAI right there. You could see it. It pulls off if I move my crosshair, so I'm trying not to move it. But That lower range capacity you see at 1.8 million DAI. So that means there's 1.8 million dollars worth of DAI here in the treasury dedicated to defend this wall. It also is just protected and backed by the dollar itself and the entire treasury. So if you sell below this, you're basically slow selling behind backing, and it's not a wise decision um, on a backed asset to sell it for what it's less than what it's worth. So it's a good idea to loop ohm when you are close to backing. Every day it moves higher and higher. That risk from looping and borrowing and all of that goes up higher and higher. So like if like people are listening to this, months down the road and they're like thinking like maybe I should loop, and it's like the premium on ohm is 3 or 4 times, maybe you should actually reconsider um, that decision, because looping at 4 times a premium is the kind of action that led to Olympus's first rise and fall. Um, and it likely will be the same scenario played out again, where you have this amazing protocol with amazing fundamentals. It's a backed protocol. People who are smart have accumulated their positions really close near backing. They are very cozy, comfortable people. And then next thing you know, it gets a bit of utility inside of DeFi. The market doesn't truly understand the technology, they just see it going up. They FOMO, they buy at premium levels. It's not a good idea. So Ohm actually has this little top cushion up here to protect against that mechanism and try to slow down any of that. If you look down now at the bottom, you see that the upper range has 156k ohm capacity. And so 156,000 times $17.15 roughly, that is 2.675 million. So if we're here, if we move up there, essentially that basically says that red bar up there says that there's $2.675 million worth of ohm willing to be sold to the market via bond markets. And then the Olympus Treasury will just take that $2.75 million into their treasury, and they will hold it to back the ohm price even more. And so this is the range bound stability system that's built to, bounce in between these systems to maintain the price, maintain stability and growth. But in my honest opinion, what will happen is that this upper range is going to get shattered when demand gets too intense. Uh, Potentially, maybe from Odin growing and buying a lot of ohm off the market. And who knows exactly what is the precursor? What if it's P's? What if it's LVF? What if it's people wanting to borrow POM, and so there's demand for POM? So there's a lot of demand factors. What if it's Barachain? What if you know? What if it's some other factor? We don't know exactly what, but as a bulltard, I'm sitting up here and I say that upper range is weak, and it's not going to hold. It's not, and so it's ohms going much higher. Um, and when it goes higher, just heed this warning. Don't loop it and gamble with it. It's like enjoy it for what it is, but like looping and gambling and using that kind of debt and leverage instrument when you're at high level premiums is a good way to lose money. So yeah, not financial advice, but yeah, take care of yourself. Here you see some liquidity pools. Increase ohms used in DeFi by pairing your ohm with other ERC20s. We're a little baby. I don't want to go and bug Olympus and say, hey, yo, Olympus, like put us on your website. You know, I want to earn that spot on that website. I want to get there. I want to have Odin sitting there on the website. I want to be there and be there because we earned it through hard work, and we have that ability to do that and to be on that level where we can earn our spot in all of these DeFi protocols around the world. Because when they talk to us, it's like, one, our liquidity's permanently locked, it's immutable. Two, our liquidity's deep. Three, our liquidity is diverse. And so anybody with a DeFi brain sort of sits there and says, "Yeah, we will let you be borrowers and lenders. We will let you like participate in our financial ecosystem because your financial ecosystem looks very immutable, decentralized, on-chain, transparent, ownerless, and that seems like a good way to bring volume into my DeFi protocol. So I'm gonna willingly accept you." And this is why I don't fear any challenge that comes our way. I just walk with confidence moving forward because I know what we have and what we're holding, and the DeFi markets crave what we have. I love Olympus. I loved backed coins, and I think backed coins have their place in this world. Um, but backed coins need a coin like Valhalla. They need a coin like Odin. They need a hyper deflationary asset that puts pressure on them to keep pushing forward and keep pushing upwards. And I believe Odin really can be that driving force for these back tokens because Ohm is just one. We'll go to baseline markets real quick just so we can get a little extra data here. Better tokenomics. Create tokenomics that grow in value through programmatic liquidity. Baseline tech. Dude, this stuff is like, it's next level technology. We're not going to go over all of it, but just to show you what you could pull up and how these B tokenomics are set up. They're, they're next level. It's next level technology. It's Olympus. What I described here with this range bound stability, it's Olympus, but it's all sort of been like programmatically sort of tailored and figured out to make it more efficient to a degree. And this isn't to slam Olympus. Olympus has its own role. If you go back here, Ohm is smart money. The Olympus protocol is a decentralized financial system that supports Ohm, a treasury backed token on the Ethereum network. Olympus has the mind share of Ethereum. Olympus has the mind share of a DeFi reserve asset as the smart money on Ethereum. That mind share in itself is valuable. It is a mimetic belief that cannot be transcended through just smarter technology. And so when we praise baseline for better Olympus tech, that doesn't necessarily mean, well, baseline's going to be worth more just because it's better, faster tech. Just sort of like how uh, you can like package up a layer one and be like, oh, mine is faster, or my layer two is better. And it's like, yeah, but like at the end of the day, people care about security and they have other values other than efficiencies and maybe potential uh, risk appetites that, you know, the people with a lot of money have different risk appetites, and people who don't have as much money need to understand that the risk appetites of people who have lots of money are much different. And Ohm is smart money on Ethereum. This is on baseline. It's like, this is some stuff for some degenerate but very intelligent folk, and it's not for everybody. And it's great technology. And long story short, I believe that Valhalla and Odin and P Valhalla help these protocols, and these protocols help P Valhalla and Odin and stuff. Because if we even just take this word as baseline realistically and we say Ohm is a baseline protocol, Yes is baseline, Machi is a baseline protocol. We look at all of these baseline protocols. In my eyes, those baseline protocols are the baseline. They are the fundamental floor in which we build a foundation off of. Olympus has a foundation, and because Olympus has a foundation, Valhalla has a foundation. But as baseline technology, as foundational, fundamental technology baseline is, I believe that there's this gap to build Valhalla, to build P Valhalla, and to build Odin on top of this baseline tech because baseline technology has an upper range. It has a bond market where there is more inflation, there's supply increasing inside of the market, and while that is like super amazing to have that capability inside of your tokenomics to be able to inflate with demand, it it works very well to increase that baseline. It also is a deterrent to growth potential. And so if we want the carrot on the stick, we want the growth potential, we have to see growth potential in multiple layers and start thinking of, okay, if baseline technology is sort of sitting fundamental, sort of building the floor, how do we get the floor to rise is to add layers of speculation on top of that. Valhalla, Odin is a layer of speculation, and then on top of that, the meme coins are an extra layer of speculation on top of Odin driving Odin. So it's all fundamentally grounded in reality, but at the same time, you allow these magical whims of unity to increase the value and to drive these baseline token treasuries up higher and higher and higher. Like, you know, when I think about incorporating, getting over here to this, chain and being able to incorporate with Yes and keep and to be able to access and to dip our toes into these deep liquidity pool wells, uh, I see a lot of potential for us forward, and um, I can't wait for it all. I think that that is where I will stop. And if there's anybody who wants to add anything, ask any questions, we can take that now.
No questions here. Sounds good. Excited for the future.
Yeah, me too, man. Um, was it helpful to be able to like sort of visualize and see some of these websites and things while I was chatting?
Yeah, I for sure like the P's interaction on their website, actually going to the pod, checking out the values, and then as well as Olympus. Yeah, I think it was helpful for sure.
Yeah, I'll be able to for future probably like load up a little bit of wallet money on here and maybe be able to do like a few transactions. It's something like I want to see every week be part of this like sort of journey is that we sit here and we look at these protocols and we sort of dissect them for people and yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I think maybe just the wallet and actually going through and wrapping your Odin and showing like, hey, this is what you click on, this is what you're doing, here's you approving the transaction, in the wallet and kind of showing those steps with a little bit of money. And then eventually, yeah, with LVF, maybe showing LVF or showing how to provide liquidity and, doing that through a screen share is, I think, very helpful.
Right. And it provides marketing material as well because like I recorded all of this stuff and like for Ohm and stuff, I know there's no YouTube video out there explaining any of the new mechanics. I can polish this up a little bit, and this is the first one. I'm gonna work on getting better about maybe being more precise. I'm a very believer that we build knowledge, and when it comes time to perform, we rely upon that knowledge that we built, not like try to strategically plan everything. But I actually have an own recording now, so like I'm gonna try to cut that and just chop just the Olympus part and be able to put that online and to be able to share that with people so they can have that knowledge about the new mechanics of Ohm and Olympus. Uh, I think that this is it's a very resourceful way to provide value for everybody here.
Yeah, I completely agree. Some people still view Olympus from like the 2021 days, so it's a different protocol.
Yeah, even we could check back and we can like look at it since it's been a different protocol on the chart, and it's just been like so smooth. It's just bouncing off the 30-day moving average. I don't know if this thing will let me even do it, but beauty. I'm excited, man. I'm gonna stop the